Good morning, Flint from iAlign. I'm actually just on a little morning walk, and I wanted to talk about an experience I had recently because it was pretty upsetting, pretty frustrating to be honest, which was I had this one gentleman come in, and he's a software engineer. He works kind of in a local area that I'm in, and he brought in a couple specific obstacles that he was facing. He was talking about doom scrolling. He was spending a decent amount on Kindle, how much he was actually scrolling his phone instead of doing things that he wanted to be doing. When he was at work, he found himself to be a little bit less, or quite a bit less focused because he was distracted and because his emotions were running really high because he didn't actually want to be at this job. He wanted to be at a different one. He wanted to be making more money. He wanted to be doing things he was more passionate about. And so he had this life experience that for over a year now, probably multiple years, it's been kind of slowly ramping into this place where he's just kind of unsatisfied with life. And the reason he was starting to feel unsatisfied with life wasn't because he didn't have potential or the capacity to build. When he was actually deeply focused on things, he could actually build pretty cool things, right? The issue of why life was feeling, the word he used was literally miserable. And I asked him, I was like, if this continues, what is the cost of this? How long does this, where does this go? He's like, dude, if this keeps happening, I will be so much more miserable than I am right now. And that's a pretty gnarly thing to admit to, right? But the reason why he was feeling miserable or will continue to feel miserable was because he's not taking action. He's spending all this time in misaligned behaviors. So the misaligned behaviors are the consumptive behaviors, like the scrolling and the YouTube and the late nights and not getting to the gym because we're doing other things and not getting to the gym because we're engaging in these behaviors too late that we don't have the time in the morning and then showing up late to work. All of these are misaligned behaviors. Misalignment, if you are familiar, is the lack of alignment between the action or the environment, the people, place, the thing that's actually happening in life, like your reality and your core values, your definitions of your core values. If there's misalignment there in a bunch of different areas of the life, the consequence almost inevitably is self-doubt and a lack of trust in yourself and just like a general feeling of unease or lack of satisfaction, lack of fulfillment, lack of happiness because you're spending all your time in a way that you don't want to, right? It's just like inevitable. And so this gentleman is telling me this story of his life and of what's going on. All right, well, how long has this been going on? All years now. The behavior pieces, yeah, years. I mean, maybe it's gotten worse recently, but it's been going on for a long time. All right, well, that's a lot. And the other piece of this was that as he loses the confidence or the steam because of the lack of action, he starts to get more overwhelmed. He starts to overthink even more than he already was because he's a system thinker. He's good at thinking. So now that he's thinking even more, but not about problems, he's using his superpower of logical thinking to try to solve his own qualms, which doesn't work for you. That puts you further into the loop, and then you spend all your time in your thought and all your time on your phone and scrolling or whatever it is, and no time in action, in doing the thing, and focusing in the things you're actually good at. Obviously, in this conversation now, there's like some emotions going on because this is this dude's life, and it's not going the way that he wanted. And now, because this is affecting his competency, his ability to focus and do the things that he wanted to do, because he wants to get a new job, he's finding himself having a difficulty standing up for himself in interviews, like interviewing effectively, and the overwhelm is showing up in the interviews, and the anxiety and all these emotions are showing up before the interviews, and then he doesn't interview as well, even though he's a competent software engineer. The lack of action is feeding into this loop that's then feeding into the confidence cycle, or the parts of his confidence and his self-image that are then leading to further emotion, and it's this negative feedback loop that leads into long-term consequences, which you're probably not going to get the job if you can't talk to a person about the things that you are genuinely capable of doing, even if you're really good at doing them, or if you can't demonstrate them, or if you stop doing them because you can't focus, then you don't have the evidence to demonstrate or show the person, and then you can't get the job either, because it's not only can you not talk about it, but you also can't demonstrate it. Your examples are going to be from a long time ago. So this negative feedback loop just keeps running, and it's really dangerous to stay in for a long time, not just because it eats at your self-confidence and your self-image and your self-trust, but because it eats at the actual actions you take over time. If it stays around for long enough, you genuinely will not take the action that you know you are capable of doing, and then a year or multiple years go by, and not only are you kind of a shadow of who you were, you also don't have experiences to talk about. You're the guy without the CV that's filled up with cool stuff that you might have been when you were 22 or 23 after you got out of college. Because over the past 3 or 4 years, now you haven't filmed, you haven't created, you haven't manifested your creation, your ideas into the real world. And that's a sad thing. And so I asked him, I was like, yeah, how long has this been going on? But also, how much per day? What is the quantity of time? How much time are we spending on the off track, the consumptive behaviors, the YouTube, the Instagram, the social media, the scrolling, other things? And then how much time do you feel like you lost focus-wise on a daily basis in your work? Oh, it's probably, if I'm being honest, I wake up and it happens sometimes 30 minutes an hour, just being off track. And then that leaves in 30 minutes of being not focused. I show up to work, in a bit of a different mindset. It takes me a while to get in, so I probably lose an extra 90 minutes there, and then it's 90 minutes after work, and then I slow down later. So it's, losing 3 or 4 hours of the 8-hour solid work day. So I'm not 4 hours of work per day. And then after work, I come home, and when I'm tired, I scroll, and while I'm eating, I scroll or watch videos, and then that leads into this occasional late night binges. And when I say occasional, I mean it's a couple times a week, right? And so I'm like, all right, so it's averaging out to probably 3 or 4 hours of consumptive behaviors per day and 3 or 4 hours of lost action per day at work, or lost competent focused work. And he's like, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. And then, obviously check this guy out. Sorry. And so there's this lost 7 or 8 hours on the weekdays, and then the occasional fully lost Saturday or Sunday where it's just like a beautiful Sunday out. He's in San Diego, and you don't do anything. You don't build anything. You don't go anywhere. You just sit at home and scroll, or have resistance to doing your thing. It takes you 6 hours to do your chores because you have so much resistance. And so I'm like, all right, on average, this guy is losing more than a part-time job per it's like almost a full-time job of his life per week. And if you multiply that out, even just 2.5 hours a day is 1,000 hours in a year. So if you multiply out 4 or 5 hours of lost time plus consumptive time, you're talking about 1,500, 2,000, 2,500 hours of your year every year not spent doing things that you actually want to be spending, and instead spending it in a way you don't want to be spending it. And that's crazy, because in the current climate of skills and AI automation and all these things has expedited the amount of time that is required in order to learn new skills. It used to be your skills were 3 or 4 years out from being obsolete, and now it's 2 years, year and a half, maybe 2.5 years. And so you have to be consistently learning and growing in this new world, right? And so if you're losing that much time, you will fall behind almost in no time at all. That's the reality of the current climate and the current world that we live in. Not only that, 2,500 hours. From a technical standpoint, yeah, that's a lot of work. That's books written. My book, it took me probably 1,500 to 2,000 hours to ideate, draft, write, edit, publish. It was like a full book. Took 2,000 hours. That's 1 year of this guy's life. Just delete it. He could have written a book. I'm not saying you have to. No, you don't have to write a book. But that's the consequence. It's 10 years of not publishing or creating something fucking insane. Right? You can tell I'm getting a bit, this is why I'm saying it's frustrating for me. Right? Because this guy was sitting there a little bit apathetic. He's been in this place for a long time. He's like, yeah, I'm just not building. It's been years. I'm not doing the things that I wanted to. I'm falling off track. And I was like, well, is this important? He's like, yeah, this is important. All right, well, do you want help with this? He's like, well, because I'm not going to push him into it. You have to want help in order to want help. I can help you. You have to want to get help. Right? You have to want to implement a new way of thinking or a new system in order to overcome these obstacles. Do you want to change this? He's like, yeah. I was like, all right. Are you open to help in changing this? He's like, I don't know. I think I can probably do this on my own. I'm like, how's that been working out for you? And I understand you have to be able to trust someone that they can actually help you, that they're not going to take advantage of you. Programs cost money. I understand that perspective. But the reason I bring this up, though, is not to tell you to search for help if this is something that you're struggling, if this story resonates with you. It's to say, fuck. That's it. It's so, as someone whose mission is solely dedicated to trying to help people, and in this specific vein of my life, this specific moment in life, trying to help people with these specific obstacles, the procrastination, the doom scrolling, the distraction, the overthinking that leads into the self-doubt, because I know firsthand from overcoming it in my life that the more consistently and effectively or efficiently that you move through it and start to take action again, how fast and dramatically your life can change, because you're actually building in the world and you're creating this life that you really want. It's hard for me. It's genuinely painful for me to watch someone who's in this state refuse help. It's not my job to force them into getting help or to show them the path, but it's their job to get themselves to that place. But it's hard for me, right? Because I'm looking at a guy who's wasted thousands of hours of his life. You might resonate with that. If you, once again, 2.5 hours of scrolling a day is 1,000 hours lost. And that pains me, because we live in this chaotic world with so much, negativity, where people are suffering. There's a lot of unhappiness, there's war, there's crisis, there's famine, there's a lot of people in this world who need help. And there's a lot of people in this world that need love and support. And the more time that competent individuals like this guy that I'm talking about aren't capable of sharing themselves, even if not helping other people, but building the world, expressing their ideas, their thoughts and creations and software and projects, the more we go down the path of more people needing help. Not only because that person needs help now too, but also because there aren't more ideas in the world. There aren't more creations in the world. There aren't more people that are taking action in the world. And so I see it from both sides, both the micro and the macro. Is I wish this guy would be in a different headspace and accept that maybe receiving help could expedite his process of getting from this complete loss of basically his life in this moment to a place where he's taking consistent action. Not only so that he can have a better life that he would call not miserable, but also so that the world gets a little bit better. Because the more people that are taking more consistent action in line with their values, the better of a life we live. And that's frustrating for me, because I really want this guy. I genuinely care, right? When I meet someone who's having these struggles, I do genuinely care. I really want them to have a better life, but I can't force them to do that, right? And that's hard for me. That's a hard part of life. To be honest, it's a hard thing for me to handle. It's emotional for me. It's frustrating for me, because I genuinely want to help people. And when I can't have the opportunity, sometimes it's because of my own competency in demonstrating my messaging and what I'm building can help people, I lose out on the opportunity, or I don't do a good enough job in order to demonstrate that. All sides of this equation are frustrating for me, because I do genuinely want to help these people. And so it's hard for me to get off a call like that and have it not be kind of emotional for me. Potentially, in this situation, potentially more emotional for me than this guy, which is crazy, because it's his life at stake, not mine, right? But I just hate to see wasted lives. That's, at the end of the day, I think that's probably my biggest concerns, my biggest frustration. It's one of my biggest sadnesses, is watching lives just get wasted, especially with cheap dopamine, because fuck, man, it's hard to watch. So if this resonates with you, if you're like, that sounds like me, I'm that engineer, I spend this amount of time in consumptive behaviors or overthinking, or not just, pursuing my dreams, building my goals, using my actual talent and logical mind to create. And a lot of it is spent overthinking situations, overthinking communication, overthinking the salary I want to create, overthinking it's the product I want to build or ship, distracting myself instead of doing the thing, falling behind, feeling emotional resistance to doing a thing and then not doing it, being emotionally reactive to situations, which doesn't mean breaking down in tears all the time. It just means based off the way I'm feeling, I don't do the thing that I want to do. If these are things that are hindering you and you want to change them, reach out, because I genuinely can help you. I genuinely have a very high likelihood of being able to help you. And if I can't, I'll direct you in the right direction. I also have plenty of resources and referrals and connections that I can set you up with. But at the end of the day, don't waste your life. That's my message this morning. Is right now, I am expressing my thoughts and my passion while I watch this beautiful morning unfold. You can't really see it, unfortunately, sadly, but it was just like this pink sunrise and these clouds, and it feels like it's white, because it's summer here, and you get humid air off of the ocean, and you got these strings of birds flying through in the kelp beds that I go play in and dive around in and frolic around and say hi to the seals and the fish, and what a beautiful life. And that dude right now is probably strolling on his phone. And not only that, he doesn't even want to be. He'd want to be here. Or he'd want to be doing whatever he'd want to be doing. He's not, because he's wasting that time. And if you waste time consistently, you waste your life. And that's a sad reality. And I don't want that for you. And if you don't want that for you, just reach out, have a conversation. Let me know what's going on. Once again, if I can't help you, then I can't help you. That's okay. There's nothing we have to force. That's okay. But at least have a conversation. Reach out. Peace.